Off Limits is the money podcast that blows up stereotypes, showing you that managing money doesn't have to be hard.
We want you to thrive, not only with your money, but in every part of your life.
What you will get out of this podcast is real, relatable, and relevant tips and strategies that you can apply today. Hi, I'm Donald Raymond, and this is
Christine Spiak. We are money coaches, business owners, and colleagues who are passionate about helping you become more of who you are. So if you're ready, join us.
How do we really define debt, since that's what we're talking about is strategies to pay the debt off, right? So we want to get on the same page. And the simplest possible definition that we could find and kind of put together for the word debt and how it's going to apply in today's conversation is something, typically money, that is owed, right? Simple. Money or something that is owed back. You borrowed it. Money that you borrowed that you owe back, an item that you borrowed that you owed back, a friend, a family member, a loan that you, a loan agreement, a contract that you signed to pay over time. Any of these things, a debt product, a credit product like a credit card, all of these things are going to fall into that category of debt if we look at it this way. So how do you answer that question? How do you know if you're in debt? Well, you can ask yourself a series of questions. So, Christine, am I in debt if I'm making payments on something?
Yes, you are.
Am I in debt if I owe a balance on an item to anybody?
Yes, you are.
How about if I borrowed money or an item from a family member or a friend?
You sure are.
I'm in debt. And then what about, so this one gets subjective, or not really subjective, but it gets a lot of attention, especially in today's economy and kind of worldview. What about loan products that are suspended or furloughed for a time?
It is still your debt.
It's still owed. We still have a debt, right? So if we just look at the basic definition, if there's a balance out there of any kind that has your name attached to it, or whether it's a handshake agreement or a formal contract, and you borrowed something, specifically money, and you owe that money back over a time period, over a series of payments, or even just one payment, we're going to look at that as a debt, whether you've built it into your cash flow or not. So knowing that, that's going to help us kind of set the foundation for everything else that we talk about as it's related to debt. And what we want to do today is focus on how do we erase it? How do we get all of the debt out of our lives, right?
And not only how do we get it out, but how do we accelerate the progress we're making on paying it off?
So not just get rid of it, but get rid of it as fast as possible.
Yes. Yeah. Oftentimes people feel the payment that they are making, because they can afford the payment, they don't view the item as a debt. Does that make sense?
It does to me, and well, I say it does. I mean, I know what you're saying. Does it make sense with my financial philosophy, with the philosophy I have for how we manage our finance? Absolutely not. You know, if I owe a payment to something and I don't own that item 100%, free and clear, 100% of the asset belongs to me, then I have debt on that item to somebody, and that doesn't fit within my program. So does it make sense? Yes, I understand. Do I invite that into our household? I do not, and I don't subscribe to that. And I definitely encourage people to reduce or eliminate as much as possible, which can be overwhelming if you've got a lot of it.
Right. Absolutely. And I think the reason why it's so overwhelming is because, first of all, we just view oftentimes debt as just a payment and not in its entirety of the total loan balance, if you will. Just I'll word it that way. If we were to zoom out and look at all of the balances added up, all of the payments added up, that's where it really gets overwhelming. And it's like, well, let me just look back down. Yes, I can afford this payment. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and in today's world, payments have kind of taken on, they've morphed a little bit, right? So we can have payments on anything. You know, you can buy a $10 t-shirt and make 4 easy payments on $10 t-shirts, right? And as an individual purchase, like you said, it doesn't feel like a lot, but at any given moment in time, if you can really assess all of the debt that you have out there and then total up the sum of all those payments, that is now in total your debt burden that hits your cash flow every month. And that is how much of a financial commitment out of your income, your paycheck, that you've already committed to before it even shows up. So whether that's, 10%, 15%, 20, 50, 60% of your paycheck, that paycheck's already gone. That amount of your paycheck is already gone. It's already spoken for before you even got it. And that's why, we really want to encourage people to reduce their debt position, because so much of it is being taken away before they've even earned it. And the worst part of that is if your life situation changes and your income is affected by that. What happens when that income goes away? That's really where debt becomes a huge risk that we can manage and reduce.
A great visual that I want to share with everybody as you just talked through all of those points is picture yourself in the driver's seat of a car and you're looking out the rear view mirror. It's a very tiny mirror that you're looking out behind you. That's what your debt is. When you're getting paid today, you have to go back in time to make all of the payments that you have. Now, picture yourself in that same driver's seat, but you're looking out the windshield. That windshield is, I have no idea how many times bigger than the size of the rear view mirror. 100? I don't know.
Easily call it 100 times. Yep.
Right. So now you're looking out this windshield towards your future. And when you get paid, if you don't have to look out the rearview mirror and make payments to your past, then 100% of that paycheck can go towards your future. And that will dramatically change the way you live your life.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Off Limits.
Beyond the podcast, we are money coaches who want to help you.
So if you are looking for help managing your money, use the links in the description below to contact either of us and learn how coaching can help you thrive.
Lastly, please help us to spread the word by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing our podcast with your friends and family.